Hey, it's a grown woman's perspective with Rochelle. And guys, this weekend we got a chance to watch the Wendy Williams biopic. I thought it was phenomenal. I'm going to go ahead and link the video that I did concerning the biopic to this video so that if you didn't get a chance to hear my commentary on that, you can absolutely go and do that. But today, I also want to talk about the after show. She did an after show where it wasn't any actors or anything. It was strictly her and the people that were close to her talking about her life and her experiences. And she kind of went into depth and she kind of explained some of the things we saw in the biopic. And so what I want you to do right now is go ahead, like this video. We're definitely going to meet afterwards in the comments and subscribe to this channel. I'm going to be giving you my perspective, a grown woman's perspective, of over 40 perspective on some of the things that hit your screen that interest me, that may even interest you. Of course, I want to hear feedback and see if there's anything that you guys want me to be doing any commentary on that maybe I don't know about yet, right? Maybe these aren't the things that I watch yet, but it's something that you want to hear a grown woman's perspective on. I want to hear about those things. So let's jump in to what we talked about on the after show, what Wendy discussed on the after show. It was called What a Mess. Wendy, what a mess, right? And so it started out with her really talking about her issue with lymphedema. Wendy said, if you don't know what lymphedema is, go ahead and look it up. And so that's exactly what I did. Although I could pretty much read between the lines as far as what it is, I wanted to look it up and get an actual definition of what lymphedema is. And it says this. It says it's swelling in an arm or leg caused by a lymphatic system blockage. Simple as that. And we know that Wendy's legs swell terribly. Even Nene Leakes talked about it as an insult to her when they were going through their drama, right? It says that the condition is caused by a blockage in the lymphatic system, which is part of the immune and circulatory systems. Lymphedema is most commonly caused by lymph node removal or damage due to cancer treatments. So, guys, that is what lymphedema is, and that is what Wendy Williams struggles with. And she has to actually get into this machine where it, wraps around her legs and kind of massages her legs and gets things flowing. She has to do that for 2 hours every single day. And it seems like it's really a relief to her because it's probably painful. I mean, you guys know how swelling is. It'll make your whatever part is swollen feel really tight and everything. So it's probably painful, especially since she has to stand and be on her feet so often. That's probably why we see her in sneakers all the time, right? And not in heels that often. So it's obvious, though, that she is really an emotional wreck. After everything that has gone on between her and Kelvin and within her life, it's completely understandable, right? We know that this woman has gone through a lot. We know that she was married for 2 decades. A lot of that time, it was known to her that her husband was cheating on her, had a whole other life going on right under her nose. One of the things that I saw, we know that her mom actually passed away within the past few months, but, her mom and her dad were on the documentary talking, also her brother, also her sister, and then some other people we got to see on there. But they were still talking about her weight issue as a kid. I don't know. It was really, really uncomfortable because I'm a mom. I have 3 sons. And I just can't imagine just really harping on and dwelling on the fact that they were overweight as a kid. I've seen several times before, not only on the biopic, but even in other interviews where that was really a thing within their family. And to me, if for someone who felt that they were always being ridiculed for that, not only in school, by friends, by neighbors, and all of that, to have your parents not only ridicule you then and always put you on diets and make you think that what you were doing was wrong, but even to this day, still ridicule her for that. To me, I don't know. It just feels some kind of way. And it makes me wonder if, of course, we know there's more to every story, right? Every public story that we hear, there's a lot more to it behind the scenes that we don't know about. But it makes me look at, her reasoning for not attending her mom's funeral and all the things that is going on right now between her and her brother. He's upset that she didn't support the father by going to the mom's funeral. So, looking at the lack of support that is, at least that's how I translate it. There's definitely more than meets the eye. Wendy actually created a glamorous life for herself. And she stressed how she was already doing well before Kelvin, that her radio show was already in syndication before Kelvin. And I tend to believe that she would have still been a very successful woman without him. But who wants to go through their life alone? I know that she did not. And I also do believe that he made some really good business moves and good business choices for her in their time together. So to have that partnership, someone who has your back, who you can trust, even if only on the business side, that's priceless. So, I'm glad for her that she had that in him during the time that they were together. She talked about how she gossiped about everyone else. And so they didn't want to ever come to her show. But the thing is, they needed her show because she was like the biggest show on the radio at that time. And we're just talking about her radio show. And so where else were they going to promote their music besides on the Wendy Williams show? And then she got a chance to really dig into people's business, ask them a lot of personal questions about their sex life, about their all kinds of stuff. And they even played some clips like from her and Mariah, Carey, and of course, her and Whitney, and we all have heard the audio between her and Whitney over and over again. And I tell you what, it is so entertaining and so hilarious. But that is what changed the direction of her career. They said once she did that Whitney interview, her show began to blow up. And she decided, first she said on the after show, What a Mess, she said that she was about to reveal who that actual person was who raped her that night. And then she decided against it. Now, she has actually released the name of an R&B singer from back in the day who sexually assaulted her. So he's since passed and his family has spoken out and they are like, it's really unfair that she never told anyone and now she's trying to say it and blah, blah, blah. But people get to speak their truth. If she this is something that she went through, she gets to speak her truth. And if she wants to name that individual, she can. And if she doesn't have to. It's really neither here nor there. And it's not for us to know if she doesn't want us to know. And so be it, whatever Wendy decides. We have to respect that. She said that she began using coke. We know that she was using it to help her with her weight because that was always an issue. She wanted to get rid of that issue. But because a lot of times in her radio career in the beginning, she worked overnight, she also was using coke to help her stay awake and stay energized throughout the night. And again, very understandable. It's not the life that, I would choose but who knows? I mean, if I was in her position, who knows? She wanted to be huge and she used that to help her be huge. And I'm just glad that she is freed from that, from all accounts and from all that she has said. That's something that she would never, ever go back to. She talked about how, when she got a chance to talk about how her and Kelvin met, she again got really emotional. I'm going to tell you the truth. My heart went out to her. When I saw how emotional she was and how she couldn't get through certain conversations or certain topics without just like breaking down in tears. And my heart truly went out for her because I know that she's been holding a lot in from childhood all the way up believe me, just like she said in her biopic, I'm not even going to talk about my first marriage because it's not worth talking about. There were a lot of other things that Wendy went through that she just did not talk about. She told us the major things, the highlights, but there have been a lot of things that I know this woman has gone through just by being who she is, just by being the first and only Black woman to do certain things. There had to be a lot that she went through. And again, my heart really went out to her when I got to see how emotional she got. I saw her through a different lens. If you guys agree, disagree with that, like, go in the comments. I don't know if you watched, this, What a Mess, or if you just watched the biopic or whatever, but did you get a different perspective or see her through a different lens once you got a chance to see these two programs and really hear about the things that she has gone through? Because we know her as a shock jock, right? We know her as the female Howard Stern, they like to say. We know her as someone that's always in everybody's business, always gossiping, always what some of us will call messy. But that's her job. Like, that's who she is identified as. If we're in business, we all have to have a personality, right? And that's just the personality that she's chosen to take on all of these years. But did you get a different perspective of her? That's what I want to hear. Let's talk about that in the comments. She spoke really, really candidly about her, her miscarriages. Again, more things that this woman has gone through, just heartbreaking, heart-wrenching. I can't even imagine going through some of those things. They spoke about how Kevin was really, really feared in the industry. Kevin was Wendy's husband. They're since divorced. But he was really feared in the industry. Like, he was, they said, really controlling, really bossy. He was about that life. If he said no, it was no. And all he had to do was give a look, and people absolutely feared him. It seems like he was a very insecure man, and he was really, really controlling. It was like he wanted to make sure he had a hand in every decision that she made and in every move that she made. And to me, that's just not a healthy balance. In my opinion, that's not a healthy balance. I am also married. My husband and I just celebrated 26 years, and I just can't even, the controlling thing, I can't get with that. So, kudos to her to be able to take that for so many years. I don't know. Each person is different. She thought that, so we know that Kevin actually had a house that he had bought in his business name that he was sharing with his girlfriend / mistress, Sherina, right? Well, Wendy only thought that he had a condo. She said that, he was hood. She said that was one of the things that she loved about him. And, he would be smoking weed and drinking and hanging out with the boys and stuff. And she didn't want that in her home. And so she thought that he had gotten a condo so he could go and do his hood mess, as she said. And, she said, she didn't even think that it could have been that he had a house somewhere with another woman. And that's exactly what it was. They said Kevin was loud. He was loud, whether he was mad, whether he was happy, he just was loud. And that he was very aggressive. He was very aggressive with Wendy. He was abusive to Wendy from many different accounts. But it seems like she handled it well, just like she handled everything else well. She kind of tucked everything down. This is her way, it seems. She tucks everything down, and she just keeps moving, keeps smiling, keep laughing, keep being messy. And then she kind of deals with the other stuff later. Now, Wendy says that it was never physical, that he never physically abused her. She said when her arm was broken, you guys remember when she broke her arm? And they were saying that he actually broke her arm. She said she did that on her own, and he had nothing to do with that. Now, I'm not sure if I believe that, because, a lot of times it can be embarrassing, especially if you are a strong woman, if you've been known to be a strong woman, and now you have to admit that someone was actually beating you. That's definitely not an easy thing to have to admit. So I don't know if she's still covering for him. I don't know if she's trying to make herself look good. And I don't know if she's telling the absolute truth and we are all just mistaken. But she said that he was not physically abusive to her. and that she broke her arm on her own. Let me know what y'all think. I definitely want to talk about this in the comments. And then you guys remember when Omarosa went on her show and Omarosa tried to like read her, like she was going to read Wendy at every turn. She wasn't really letting Wendy get a word in. She was kind of just being like really obtuse, really aggressive with Wendy. And finally it got to a point where Wendy like kind of snapped on her and was like, no, this is my show and this is how we're going to do it. And that particular, just like that Whitney Houston interview on the radio changed her career, the Omarosa interview on her TV show is what changed everything. And then we got to see her really, really, really blow up. So guys, I enjoyed, watching this after show, right? Wendy, what a mess. Where we got to hear from her mom and her dad. We got to hear from her brother. We got to hear from her sister, whose heart really went out to Wendy concerning the miscarriages. She says she still gets teary-eyed when she talks about it. We even got to hear from, I think it's Kima from Total, who talked about when they had gone to her radio station to try to fight her. So we got to hear from quite a few people, including Wendy herself. We got to see the emotion really come through. We got to hear the stories from her own words. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed getting a chance to get a closer glimpse into everything that has been going on with Wendy, especially as we ran through 2020 with it was just a mess. And most of all, I'm really glad that Wendy has been strong enough to separate herself from Kelvin, to get out of that toxic relationship. It may have started out beautifully for them, but I believe that over the years, it just got more and more toxic. And anytime a man is willing to disrespect you in such a way where not only is he cheating, but he's spending your money on this woman, he's buying her houses and cars and funding her businesses, and then gets her pregnant, and they have a whole family. Whew, that's a lot. So kudos to Wendy for filing for divorce, for separating herself from him, and for still winning, still thriving. I just really, really have, I'm sending positive energy and high hopes and prayers that Wendy can just maintain in terms of her health, her mental health, her physical health, so that she can keep doing what she does. She can keep doing what we love her for. So Wendy, keep on doing it. And for you guys that are watching, thank you for being here with me. Let's meet down in these comments and talk about everything that we got a chance to see this weekend, because it was power-packed. It was power-packed with all of this information. I enjoyed it. I want to know if you enjoyed it. I want to know, all about how you're feeling about both the biopic, which I'm going to link here, and this after show, after party. What a mess. All right, guys, don't forget to like. Of course, we're meeting in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you want to hear more content and information just like this. Love you guys. I'll talk to you on the next video. Bye.